What up, my freaks? Ruinous Insight here with another Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 Skalgrim Mod ship showcase, or spotlight. I never remember which one it is, not that it matters because they're both the same thing. Anyway, this time we're going to go back to the classics, the Imperial Navy, the thing that we all probably know the best out of all the factions, just by virtue of it being Spire's faction. Anyway, we are going to take a look at the brand new Imperial Navy Titan, the IMPERATORIA Aquilae. So let's immediately go and check out what we're working with here. Now, this is a pretty interesting Titan. Interesting because it fills a role that I really personally like, a certain ship type that I personally favor, but also because it stands out from the other three Imperial Navy Titans, being the Lux Imperator, Imperator Somnium, and Victus Imperialis, in that it does not overlap with their combat roles at all, whereas the other Titans do a little bit of combat role overlap. This one is wholly unique in that regard. So, just as a brief comparison, the Imperator Somnium is a primarily long-range Titan, even though it can tank a lot of damage. It primarily has lances and plasma macros, so it'll want to stay at long to mid-range, right? Plus it has the carrier capacity as well. The Lux Imperator is a sort of jack-of-all-trades Titan, which has basically a bit of everything. Nothing, it doesn't have a crazy amount of anything, but it has some of everything. It has lance artillery, it has lance batteries, it has macro batteries, it has plasma batteries, etc. It's the jack-of-all-trades ship, and it is a really cool one, I will admit. And then finally, the Victus Imperialis, similarly to the Imperator Somnium, also is focused on mid to long-range combat with both lances and macro batteries, as well as some launch bays. So, that is all long to mid-range, whereas the Imperatoria Aquilea, the new Titan, is completely different. It is an absolute close combat monster. Very short range, full of nothing but macros. Heavy macro battery weapons on the broadside, an absolute ton of light macro battery weapons, and macro turrets on top of that. This is something, as I've said before, for those of you who have watched my previous Let's Plays, you guys know that I favor this. This thing has a spur, it's got close combat capabilities, it's got tons of macros. It's just the sort of ship that I would really enjoy, and the sort of ship that I would give Spire. It's also the kind of ship that you'd want to lead ships like Damocles's, let's see, Retributions, definitely the Banishers and Avengers, which are in the fleet already, which we'll get to in a bit, and Agamemnon's as well. So all of these close combat ships with spurs and with close combat stuff, they now have a Titan flagship to lead them, which is really cool. I really would have enjoyed using this ship in an Imperial campaign, because it fits my playstyle. So let's take a look at what we have going on here. Now, you're in Gothic. I prefer you in Armageddon, just because Armageddon is light enough where it looks pretty decent and does have those accents, those Imperial Fists-like accents. Just looks nice. Not for every single ship, but certainly for some of the ships. Now, this thing is got that double-decker design we've been seeing with a lot of the added ships in the mod, and it does, in this particular case, work for me pretty cohesively and pretty decently. It really reminds me of like late Age of Sail sort of stuff, like when like real-life sailing ships would become like upgunned and would get more and more gun decks, or you'd start getting triple-decker or triple-deck gun deck, whatever, I don't remember the name of the ships. I think it's triple deck ships with all those gun decks, and this just really reminds me of that sort of thing. So it is realistic in that regard. So most of this is also made up of all of these light macro battery weapons, which is a really fun weapon. I really like that weapon, particularly on the Hrafnkel, and I think that this ship is sort of like the Imperial Navy's answer to the Hrafnkel, or maybe to a similar degree, to a slightly lesser degree, I suppose I would say, the Eternal Crusader. But the Hrafnkel is also a ton of light macro battery weapons, although I do believe in that case it is double barrel light macro batteries, but close enough. More importantly, these things fire fairly quickly, and there's just a ton of fire coming coming from them. I believe in the case of the Hrafnkel, that looked sort of like a fire at will sort of thing, where they just keep firing and firing and firing, whereas these things are more of a shotgun sort of variety. But it still looks really cool and fun. I mean, imagine all of these batteries firing at the exact same time. That's a ton of projectiles, and it should absolutely look like a shotgun. Otherwise, yeah, the ship is pretty cool. It's got this chunky sort of second half portion without the gun decks on it. It's got the spires and command decks and all the Enginarium and stuff back here. It does make sense. I feel like it could maybe use a little bit more engines, but it does definitely fit the aesthetic of these larger ships in general. Plus, the gigantic prow that it has does fit both of the double-decker gun decks, or quad gun deck, or whatever you want to call it, that we have here. So yeah, it does very much look cohesive. Looks like a pretty damn great ship, and I would absolutely buy it as a cannon ship. Very nice. Very, very nice. I like it. Now let's take a brief look at what we are working with here. As I've already said, it's basically just got a ton of macros. There's really not, to be honest, much to say about that. It goes into close combat. It is short range, especially with the light macro batteries, with the 9,000 units only. So that's definitely something you have to consider. You have to really get in there, and that is certainly dangerous against enemies that probably would board you, especially things like Tyranids and Space Marines, and to a slightly lesser degree the Orcs, but that's for somewhat slightly different reasons, but definitely those two. In fact, maybe we'll fight them on purpose, just because it'll be a fun time. Other than that, let's see what we got here. We have actually a fairly decent amount of hull and shield for the amount of fleet points that this thing costs, don't we? 2,500 shield, similar to the, I believe, the Victus Imperialis, which is 528, so it's a little bit cheaper. But it does also have the 2,500 shield points, but less hull. And I just want to compare that to the Lux Imperator, which is a much more fragile ship for its point cost, with the same amount of shield, despite being nearly double that of the Imperatoria Aquila, and more than double of the Victus Imperialis, and fairly low hull for its point value as well. But of course, we know that the Lux Imperator isn't supposed to be the sort of ship that tanks everything. Unlike the Imperator Somnium, which can do that while still maintaining a range. This is more of a ship that you need to protect with various other ships, sort of like we have going on over here. But this thing, it can certainly take quite a beating for its point value. Now, we got to remember that with regards to factions like this, in particular the Imperials and the Orcs, for example, they can bring a absolute ton of hull points to bear for very, very cheap value. I mean, let's take a look at the Avenger, which is a very, very cheap Grand Cruiser. It has 3.7 thousand hit points at only 100 points. Bring 10 of these, and now you have 37,000 effective HP for less than the cost of a Lux Imperator. So that's definitely something you have to keep in mind with regards to Imperial ships. As you go down in point value, you can just spam a ton of really cheap ships. So I do really like that for the Imperial Navy. Anyway, I believe that's pretty much all we have to say. I do want to briefly discuss why I decided to go with the fleet. It's because the cost here is 610, so we couldn't quite bring two of them for a standard battle capacity. On top of that, I feel that since, as I said in the campaign, I would probably be bringing this thing with a bunch of Avengers and Banishers and other similar close combat ships, I might as well do that here, because this is the type of fleet you'd most likely use with this thing, instead of it being by itself. Plus, considering the fact that it only has 4 launch bays, and I say only in quotes, because that's still a decent number of launch bays, but it certainly can't defend itself by itself, so I do believe it does need support ships. Although, to be fair, the ones that we are bringing don't actually have any carrier capacity, so, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's try it out. Now, for upgrades, I decided to go with the Auger Probe, as well as the Supercharged Void Shield, obviously, for the last ship standing, which will probably be the Imperatoria Aquila. With regards to the upgrades, obviously, you have to take armor-piercing ammunition whenever you go any kind of fleet similar to this. It's a no-brainer, and it happens every time. Lastly, I went with Orant Pattern weaponries. It was a really hard decision between Advanced Void Shield Pattern to give that 25 armor to every single ship, which would buff up all the ships, But at the end of the day, I felt the Orn pattern weaponries were necessary just to get those light macro batteries firing beyond that limited 9,000 range. It'll really help the ship actually fire at enemies when they're moving around it. And I think that's it. We can jump into battle. Just want to take one brief look. Okay, yeah, so it does have 83 and 83 armor around on the front end side, but it does have the slightly more vulnerable rear armor. The same identification range as all the other Titans, I believe, at 13,500. Yeah. So that's evened out, and I think nothing else in terms of its stats really stand out from anything else. I'm just excited to make use of the spur and the various macros that it has. Let's do it. These ships are always so fun to watch. Let's launch, and it says we want to go up against the Necrons. I want to purposely fight, let's say, the Astartes, the Space Marines. The Necrons might be a tough fight as well, but I feel like the Space Marines would be a tougher fight. Honestly, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, but these guys can board us, and they also are sort of similar. Plus, we haven't done a lot of, like, similar on similar faction fighting. We've done a lot of very different faction fighting, so I just feel like this is the way to go this time. Let's go. Oh, I should have given them 1 extra point. I was 1 point short. We both now have 1199 instead of 1200. I mean, at least it's even, right? My bad. They maybe really could have used that 1 point. To be fair. Ooh. Looking nice against the backdrop of that Forge world, presumably. And yeah, I think Armageddon was the right choice in terms of the color scheme. Now, how are we going to set you up? Pretty simply, I think. It's just a bunch of Avengers, which also... And why did I bring Avengers instead of various other battleships? A, because they're really cheap, but B, they have nothing but light macro batteries, just like this ship. This is the perfect ship to lead a bunch of these light cruisers. Banishers also are the same, a bunch of light macro batteries, but they also have the heavy macro batteries in addition to that. And the main reason I brought this one is because I would have brought more of them, but we just didn't have enough points, that is. And I guess we can keep you behind this ship while the Avengers act sort of sacrificially here. Alrighty, let's get to it. Let's see whether the boarding Space Marines can beat the insane macro firepower that we have going on here. Ready up and get to it. Here we go. Now, do they have carriers? I assume that they do. Let's send our 2 sword frigates forward. Let's also send that auger probe. Try to attach it to an enemy or try to set it up. Now, launch it into the middle-ish. And they are launching, well, not really a lot of carriers on their side, and they also didn't bring a Titan, I note. Oh, let's take a look at look at what's going on here. The rings look really, really cool, as always. I can't not take a look at map, guys. Even, this may be a ship showcase, but I can't not take a look at the map. That's just me. You're gonna have to get used to that. Alrighty, so here we go. The Grand Cruisers moving around the Imperatoria Aquilea. Alright, how are we doing? Let's launch our fighters now. I'm hoping that these things don't hit... Oh, in fact, you know what I should have done? I should have moved one of the escorts forward to block all the borders. Although, hopefully it's not necessary. These guys should be able to shoot these down, or at least most of them, before... Oh, this one's not being shot down. Okay, I just missed that, but it looks like we're okay. Oh, is that one gonna make it through? Come on, fighters, you can do it. Ah, 3 made it through. Oh, well. That's okay, but the enemy is almost here. I'd like to get into relatively close combat and then just... Oh, man. No, what are you doing? Get away here. I wasn't actually trying to ram that, although speaking of rams, you have a spur. Goodbye, little escort. I'm actually surprised that didn't kill it instantly. And you know what? Let's slow it down. Let's actually turn these guys all into 4.5 engagement distance and tell them all to auto-engage. There we go, and then cancel their orders. You identify everybody and then just disappear or do whatever it is you were planning to. You know what I should have done? I should probably launch some torps before doing this. But hey, at least you're going to get a nice ram in there. These guys do still need to get closer into combat, and I think I'm going to order them forward before, you know, watching the battle unfold. Let's also get you your supercharged void shields, board at least one of these enemies, and then switch you to reload right here. And then, you know what, slow it down, and oh, you know what I should have not been doing? Should have not been sending you forward by yourself. I got a little bit excited. Well, it happens. It happens. Now you can cancel your order. You guys can move forward, and I guess we can watch the rest of this unfold a little bit. Definitely did it the wrong way. I meant the other ships to protect this thing instead of this thing going in and taking all the borders, but you know what? While it's here, it might be okay. And do I hear somebody? Oh no, is that a Nova Cannon firing? What do we have here? We have a Luminor. Oh, okay. Well, that's where the Nova Cannon's coming from. It's really willing to hit all of these ships. Okay, you, cancel order, please do your own thing now. You guys keep moving forward, let the Nova Cannon hit, and what I want to do, I think, is transfer troops instead of board. We're not going to get too much value out of boarding. But we can top up our own ship and just keep it alive. You are still in following orders, right? In fact, everybody cancel order, do your own thing now, and then we'll speed it up and watch this thing. There we go. There we go. And considering the fact that it was in there first, it has certainly taken a beating. Now, I do want you to turn so that you can fire on multiple ships at once. Your shields did just go down, and yeah, look at that. Look at those shotgun blasts. That does not look really cool. I love the light macros. For some reason, I find them a lot more fun than the regular macros. Weird as that may seem. You can use rally on everybody because you're suffering a little bit. And oh, looks like their whatever this ship was goes down, and you are getting ripped apart by those macros. Like every one of those shotgun blasts takes a good 15 to 20% HP off, I think. Down you go. Very nice. And can we transfer any more troops over? Well, at least one can, and let's launch some more defensive fighters. I guess you can recharge your shields while you're at it. You have certainly taken a beating. And to be fair, I could have avoided that, but on the bright side, considering the amount of damage we've taken, we've actually preserved all of our other ships, which means we have been able to preserve their firepower as well. Oh, and are you trying to get away? That's adorable. You switch to lock-on stance, so this guy's going to maintain distance. You can also cancel your orders. Oh, and they went for a stasis bomb. That's cute. You gotta love the shotguns, man. Alright, how we doing? You guys doing okay? There is a light cruiser Vanguard over here, which is also about to get ripped apart by all the light macros. I feel like this is a pretty great fleet. I mean, would it get obliterated by a carrier fleet before it closed the distance? Yeah, probably, but against the AI, it's perfectly fine. Against a player, I'd probably bring a couple of cheap cruisers in addition to this, like Dominators or something like that. Are Dominators the ones that have torps and a couple... and a couple sets of... Oh, you know what? You also have boarding torps while you're at it. Do that.
Damage teams, begin repairs
as well as a couple... What was I saying?
We wait your command.
A launch base. That's what I was saying. Launch base. Oh, you know what? I should have probably prevented you from routing, but I think you're still okay. There we go. And this guy's still alive just by virtue of the fact that they prevented several of our ships from continuing. They are... You know what? Get them back. Get them right back in here. Why not? There we go. And will you rally? No, I think you're gonna rout. Yeah, there's the mutiny. It did mutiny at the end of the day, but I think this battle is over. And it certainly served as a tank.
Our borders have caused
and in fact... Oh, see, the AI is actually helping us here. The battle is completely over, but what they're doing is they're stasising this thing. Stasising. And allowing its troops to tick down, which is a great thing, because as soon as its troops go to 0, we just recover it with one of our ships. And then we just rally it, or do a summary execution, and then... oh wait, no, summary execution would not help, because in that case it would reduce the troop count. But either way, we'd still be able to rally it and get it back in action. Still had a lot of HP, and I think it performed fairly well. I would probably like to... You know what? Let's do one more battle, and let's try to do it properly. It wanted to fight us to fight the Necrons last time. Let's fight the Necrons. I just want to send the other ships forward this time instead of the Imperatoria. Otherwise it feels like... I mean, we could compare the two battlefield roles of it, I suppose, in the sense of it dishing out damage as opposed to taking the damage, even though I did say that it's supposed to take both, and it clearly succeeded at doing that against a matchup that wasn't super great for it. I mean, great in close combat, because obviously the Imperial Navy is going to outshoot the Space Marines, but as we saw, it was starting to get close in terms of the amount of boarding actions we were taking. Alrighty, like this. And let's get to it. You guys can all lock on. Go, go, go. Necrons, here they come. What do we have here? I see a cairn of some sort, and is that an Osiris? That seems like a lot of launches.
Ship ready.
Could be a Scourge. Either way, we're gonna have to defend ourselves here. Oh, I probably should have gone brace for impact, but whatever. I am gonna speed this up this time, though, until we close the distance. All right, everybody, move forward.
Acknowledged.
All right, now they're gonna shoot our. Actually, they're doing a decent job shooting down the Necron fighters. Oh, they're going for the Banisher pack here. That's cute.
Damage teams.
That is cute. Oh, and we are approaching the enemy ourselves. Now you launch another set of fighters. These guys will have to go in and repair that. There we go. I'll deal with it rather, not repair it. You know what I mean. And we are going to move the Banishers forward. Let them take the brunt of the damage this time. There we go, there we go. That'll be proper. And you guys, as soon as you move in, you're all going to switch to reload. You're going to go to 4.5, auto-engage, and cancel order. You are going to go and do the exact same thing. Reload. And, wait, are you guys still moving fast? Yes, I'm moving fast. You, go fast now. And you don't need to recover your shields. Both of you, reload, regular speed, 4.5, do your own thing. I think launching torps might be pointless, because they're just going to star pulse wave, or destroy the torps, and it looks like the enemy have already lost the ship. You know, I'm going to slow it down, because this battle feels like it's starting to end very, very fast here. You, 4.5 engagement, cancel order. Go after this cairn. You, do the same exact thing, 4.5 auto-engagement. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. And you guys still do your own thing, and repair. Well, you need to repair, if you can. Alright, now let's just watch the battle. Speed it back up to normal. Alright, here we go. The shotgun blasts moving in and damaging the Scythe Cruiser Harvester. Our main ship is completely unhurt this time. And look how much damage this cairn is taking. There we go. That's what we like to see. And yeah, if you can fire in both directions with your shotgun, that's the kind of shotgun you want. One that fires both backward and forward, right? And in fact, wait, don't move anymore. See, AI, you should recognize the fact that you got a benefit here, but you moved too far. Oh well, it's not a big deal. Recover your shield, please. Cairn is almost dead, so is the Banisher, unfortunately, but the rest of our ships are actually doing very well. Huh. Interestingly enough, it seems like this is going a lot better, and the Space Marines are a more difficult matchup for us. You can brace, try to get out if you can.
Maximum burn.
Oh, we got trapped in a stasis field, but their cairn goes down. We still have one ship remaining. They have one ship remaining, but we're basically good. Man, we absolutely slaughtered these Necrons. Damn. Maybe it's because they had a Scourge here, because that is a significant decrease in firepower, but yeah. Oh, look at all those little macro shields, the light macros. Once again, I've just been singing their praises this entire episode. I'm not gonna stop. I'd love to have this ship and the Hrafnkel work together in the campaign. And how much HP do you have left? You can actually switch to lock-on to help out with the macros actually landing. There we go. That's a little bit better. Oh, wow. Let's see how much HP you have now. I don't want to actually get anybody closer. Oh, look, that ship came back. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? And you are still completely unharmed here. That's another thing that we do have to know. So a completely different sort of dynamic than we had last battle. It certainly worked out. And why are you turning? Oh, you're trying to close the distance. Well, this ship is dead regardless. I didn't even bother ramming it. That's how much firepower we had. Alright, well, let's just call this battle here. Preemptively, I think that shotgun should either finish it off or come close to it. I don't think we're going to get another ram going, unfortunately. Please fire. If it can survive the next couple of shots, speed it up. Everybody move close. Guys, get away from it. This is completely necessary what I'm doing here. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Guys, relax, relax. Stay where you are. I don't care if all of you die. You come here. As I said, this is completely and utterly necessary. And here we go. I do want to get one ram in here just to get the shot. And a goodbye, a little tiny ship. Well, tiny comparison to this particular ship. Our fleet had absolutely no trouble dealing with either of the enemy fleets, to be perfectly honest. I feel like if I had played this in the exact same way with the Space Marines, we would have done better as well. But hey, live and learn. Lovely. And it sort of did clip the ship, but it can just explode right here. Man, the explosions of the Necron ship going critical with all its energies look really cool. Beauty. Beauty. Did I just... Okay, I might have made a tiny little cut there, but whatever. I think I might have turned off my recording while I tabbed out for a sec, but that was an accident. Nothing doing, and it doesn't matter anyway because we are done. I think this ship really works well for what it's supposed to be. It definitely fits a specific role that we didn't really have in such a large point value, so I'm pretty happy with it and excited to play around with it more, especially in skirmish, which I'll probably be doing with various fleet compositions. Maybe I'll try one in a massive battle with just a bunch of these ships. That might be very, very fun. Maybe put them up against the Khorne fleet. Oh, wait, but we can't purposely choose the enemy. But anyway, next time, I am completely sure what we're going to be covering. This is going to be a part 1 of the Imperial Navy. Part 2 is going to be our new Grand Cruiser. That is new to this mod, so we'll check that out later. Stay tuned. Don't forget to leave a like and comment for your friendly neighborhood heretic. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.